Hello and welcome to the Jocelyn Moore Show. I'm your host, Jocelyn Moore, and as always, we're here to inform, inspire, and entertain with dynamic conversations that matter. Today, we're talking about the current state of the entertainment industry. Joining us is Cathy Reinking. She's an Emmy-winning casting director since the early 90s, working on Frasier, Arrested Development, According to Jim, and many other shows and pilots on NBC, CBS, ABC, the CW, and Fox. She's the author of How to Book Acting Jobs.
Thanks for inviting me. I feel honored. Thank you.
Well, I feel honored. I'm very excited to have you with us today. Okay, so let's get started. From shows like Frasier to writing books for actors, what made you shift your focus from hiring actors to teaching them?
It seemed like a natural progression as one gets older because casting is a very stressful job, and I wanted to slow down my life a little bit. So I turned to coaching actors, and I also am a writer, and so I wanted more time to write because when I was casting full time, there wasn't time to do anything except just work. So, because it's a fast-paced environment for sure.
And writing takes a lot of work.
It was no days off. I was on call. It was like I was a doctor. Like I was on call all the time. And there was, if I knew how much I got paid per hour, I would probably have quit a long time ago because you're working 24/7.
Let me ask you this question: what is good acting? People have a different opinion about good acting. What is good acting to you?
Good acting is when we're watching someone, but we don't feel like they're acting. So it's non-acting acting. It's someone who's very authentic, comfortable in their own skin, and is very emotionally compelling. Like they're moving us to feel something. That is great acting. That's the acting that gets Academy Awards. That is Viola Davis acting, where we're just so in tune with what she's doing and saying, and we feel like we're seeing inside of a soul, and that's what good acting is.
What about James Dean and Marlon Brando and Cicely Tyson and all of them? How do you characterize them?
Yeah, they were also very vulnerable. They showed both their dark and light qualities. They weren't just one note. And just incredibly charismatic. And that doesn't mean that they were the most beautiful, but it just means that we were drawn into them because of their vulnerability.
Do you think acting schools are really good for people who are getting into acting?
Not really. I mean, I guess unless you go to like Juilliard or something, but that's so expensive. A normal person can't go anymore. So only rich people. I think you have to be very careful about what schools you get into, because there are some people that are teaching that really haven't been in the business that long or don't know everything about the business. Really, you have to look at the credits of the folks that are teaching you. And also, I think actors teaching other actors seems a bit weird. Like my background being a casting director, I could see it from a much clearer perspective on if they were good or not. But if an actor is helping another actor, how do they know really what a casting person would be looking for?
At one time, people used to really laugh at the soap operas, and now I would see, okay, for instance, you had Elizabeth Taylor on General Hospital. Shirley Jones was on One Life to Live. And Sammy Davis Jr. was on General Hospital. You have these famous actors at one time would not step foot in a studio, like a soap opera studio, but now they are doing that. So what do you feel about that? Because some actors say that the soap operas, when they start in the soap opera, it was really good for them. It's a stepping stone for them. They really learned a lot from that, from being on a soap opera.
That's true. As far as big stars already being on soaps, that's like called stunt casting, like where we would bring a star onto a sitcom or something. Like James Earl Jones was on an episode of Frasier. And I have to tell you, when I was there on the set, I was like that's James Earl Jones, so the soaps would do that. But also soaps were great, like Julianne. I was gonna say Julianne Moore. There's so many people that were on soaps that became big stars.
I remember back we talking about good acting. Haiti McDaniel, she was in Gone with the Wind. She said that people were criticizing her for playing the part of a maid, and she said, "I'd rather play a maid than be a maid."
Thank God things have really turned around in a big way. But yeah, but she got to go yeah. I mean, there's problems with Gone with the Wind, the movie, in a lot of different ways,
Of
but
course.
I'm
Of
glad that
course.
she became famous with that movie, even though it was really playing a role that,
That's
she
true.
she could have played a more well-rounded role, but it wasn't the time.
Oh, let me ask you this question, getting off that topic. How did your mother introduce you to films? That's interesting. How did your mother introduce you?
Yeah, my mother was very enamored of films. I mean, we went to the movie since I was 3 years old. It was my first movie, West Side Story, which is really not a great movie to take to a 3-year-old, because it was pretty I mean, it's a sad story. It is a complicated story, but I loved it and soaked it all up, and it still is one of my favorite movies. And so we would go to escape. And when I was young, my father was very sick all the time, and he was in
Mm-hmm.
hospitals a lot. So when like we'd go visit him, and then my mom would take me to the movies. So I grew up. I grew up just loving movies because it was a great escape for us. I had a very tough childhood, and it was just the great escape. And without that, I don't know, I probably would have taken drugs, which I never did. So I probably would have been like a mess. So movies kind of saved my life in a way.
I know some actors have said that they like acting because it's escape from real life. They are portraying someone else.
Yeah, but the thing is just being yourself in that situation. So it's kind of weird where they want to escape, because really good
From
acting,
reality.
yeah, but good acting is not escaping from reality. You're not playing a role, you're just being yourself in that situation. So you have to be very emotionally sound. You have to
Uh-huh.
take care of yourself, and not get too caught up in a if a character is a bad guy, for instance. You have to have certain boundaries
Mm-hmm.
about yourself to be able to really play that without driving yourself crazy. But you're just playing yourself, basically.
Do you think I have heard actors say this. Some actors like playing a bad role because they can really go out there. I mean, it's a juicy part where they can put their all in that. But playing a nice part is like, and I really put all my energy into it. Does that make sense or no?
I don't know, like a rom-com, like a nice rom-com. Is that what you're talking about? Like they
Right.
want to play heavier roles and stuff to show what they can do. But I mean, really good
Hmm.
actors are going to play any roles that they're given. You can't be that picky unless you're a big star, of what roles you get. You just audition. You're asked to audition, and then you're gonna, hopefully get that role. And if it's like you kind of don't have a choice, you have to take the role. And if you say no,
Hmm.
that's fine. But usually people don't say no.
Tell you, for instance, I was watching this. I go my soap opera. I'm sorry. I like General Hospital. Okay. And this one actor said he normally plays on Hallmark movies. You know those
Hmm. Yeah, the
Hallmark
sweet
movies,
movies.
right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And he would say he's always played a good guy. But now on the soap, he's playing this bad guy. And he said, I really love playing this bad guy
Great. That's
because
great.
it's different. Because it's different from what he normally plays. I guess he would say it was getting maybe a little bit boring, maybe, but playing this other part is like I just love every second of it. I just go out there and do.
Hey, if you can play a good and a bad guy, in the same year, that's
Uh-huh.
fantastic. That's dynamism, really.
Here's the question I want to ask you. Do actors really need an agent?
Yes, they do. Agents aren't expensive, but they do, they take 10 or 15% of what you make on a show, but you don't pay them ahead of time, so it's
Mm-hmm.
not, they're expensive. I mean, they're helping you get work. So because there's a really important relationship between agents and casting people, and they're working with each other pretty much. But an actor can't contact a casting director directly and say, "Hey, will you bring me in for this role?" That doesn't really happen. So the agent is an integral part of that triangle of actor, casting, and then getting getting hired on a show or TV.
How can you find a legit agent, without being conned, without someone taking your money and all of that?
Well, first of all, if an agent or manager asks money from you up front, that is a con. That is, there
Oh.
are bad, yeah, like that's terrible. Like an agent or a manager will never ask you for money up front. So
Mm.
that's a bad sign for anyone. But there is something, the IMDb, there's an internet movie database that all
Mhm.
actors can go to, and they can find a list of all the agents out there and managers, and they can see who's working at each agency. And but it's a really good source for actors to go to, is IMDb Pro or IMDb.
Okay, you met Ron Howard and you didn't really want to bother him. What about stars that you have helped along the way to prepare them to go out for a gig or something like that?
I auditioned Jessica Alba. It was one of her early auditions, and I just remember I was in this tiny room with her, and I was doing the scene because the casting director at the time, we would do the scenes with the actors coming in. And so I just remember staring at her and going, God, I just thought you are so beautiful. Like she was so beautiful to look
Mhm.
at. So, and she was very sweet and had a good soul. So that's one of the ones I
Mhm.
can remember is just thinking, oh my God, she's going to be a big star. And Ava
Oh,
Mendez. It was
wow.
I auditioned her for a film, and it was her first audition, and it was just like she was a star. Like some people just have that charisma, that confidence in their own skin, which is so important
Mhm.
for an actor to have. If you're insecure, then being an actor will take you down because
Mhm.
it's a high wire act. It really is.
You have so many critics out there though, and I guess that's what they're afraid of because any negative feedback, they probably think that, "Oh, I'm not gonna get the next gig," or something like that. Maybe that's why they
Yeah.
don't have the confidence. They're thinking ahead too far ahead. They could be really good,
Yeah,
but then,
yeah.
like you said, their self-confidence is just bringing them down.
Yeah, yeah, you
Mm.
cannot be an insecure person in any part of entertainment, but especially acting. You cannot be insecure with yourself.
Mm.
That is why probably drugs are prevalent.
Right.
Self-medicating is probably prevalent because of
Mhm.
that, because of your insecurity. Um, so you should stay away if you're insecure at all.
What do you think about I'm going back, what do you think about stage mothers who push their kids? They still have a lot of stage mothers today?
I worked a lot with children and their moms. Usually they were, I mean, if they got as far as auditioning for me, they were usually pretty good. And I don't recall an actual stage mom. So
What moment in your career, going back to your mother, what moment in your career made your mother most proud of you?
my biggest recollection is going like to Easter brunch at the Beverly Hilton Hotel, and Sidney
Mhm.
Poitier walks in with his family,
Ooh.
and I just thought my mom was gonna like just keel over from happiness seeing that. So then,
Oh, wow.
and then, and the waiter that waited on us, he was an actor too. So we got a free Easter Sunday brunch at the Beverly,
Oh.
at this famous hotel. And so that's when she thought, oh, wow, Kathy, you must be doing something really interesting, because she
Oh.
really didn't understand what I was doing. So
Mhm.
that was sad, but it
Oh.
is the way it was.
Back then, the shows, let's say back in, I guess, the 50s, 60s, they weren't about sex. I mean, when you watch a comedy, it's like they have to. use sex or curse to get a laugh. But back then, like I Love Lucy, some other shows, it was
Yeah.
funny. So
Yeah.
what happened? I mean, today I have to turn the channel, you cursing. Why do you have to curse? Or why do you have to use sex to get a laugh? Come on. What happened to your
You're right.
brain?
And when did that start? I mean, we lived through it. Like when because there was never cursing on television. And
Right.
so it was weird that was suddenly one day, like when did it happen where it was the first curse word on television? Like
Mm-hmm.
we'd have to go look it up and see what it was because you're right, it was cleaner, you know, in before the 80s maybe? I don't know. That would be a good thing to research.
I want to go back to your mother. Uh, well, about Frasier. What was her first response when she saw the taping of Frasier?
Yeah, she was thrilled. I mean, she was starstruck probably more than I was. And that's probably how I got it was she was born in Switzerland, she was
Oh.
selling shoes in
Mm-hmm.
Switzerland and she
Mm-hmm.
decided to move to the United States. She was an au pair and I think she wanted to meet famous people. I mean, she was
Mm-hmm.
she didn't, it feels like I could be making a stereotype of this, but it feels like people that come from, a poor background, they find, I don't know, it's the glamour of famous people that you're drawn to because you don't have it in your own life. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. That sounds really sad, but I think it's true.
Oh.
So, I mean, what would happen? Okay, here's a question for you. What would happen if
Oh.
suddenly there was no TV or film or anything in the world, like and no theater? There was no performance at all. How would that make our lives? Like we would admit, I mean, it's a vital part of our lives, really.
I cried, die.
Right? But still, we are so addicted to performers. And yet, some of them are not respected very much. Like, what would we do if all the performers went away one day? That would be,
Mm-hmm.
we couldn't live. So people need
Mm-hmm.
to really, be more respectful of performers, actors,
It's true.
writers.
How do you feel when you probably heard this when people say, "Oh, acting, that's not much. I can do that myself." You ever heard that from people? Oh,
Very much
that's
so. Like
nothing.
it's
I can
nothing.
do
Yeah,
that.
it's nothing. Right. No, it's very hard, especially when you're doing it like on a set and you've got all this stuff going on and you've got your own insecurities like I talked about earlier. So it is
Mm-hmm.
very hard to be a really good centered actor. I don't know why, but her name always comes up when I talk about like Emily Blunt, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Like she is such a centered, good actor. Like we're always going to be drawn to her. And Viola Davis, who came from a poor background,
Mm-hmm.
she worked really hard to get where she was, and she is like one of the greatest actresses I think ever.
Now, talk about acting. I want to talk about this just a little bit. What about memorizing lines?
Yeah, it's a skill. It's a real skill. It's not it's not as easy as people think it is. So yeah, that's a good question. I mean, if you can't memorize easily, then you're gonna have a tough time.
Forget it.
Oh,
And
yeah,
what about a monologue? Oh my goodness, you had pages of monologues too.
yeah,
You have
yeah.
to
But it was fun.
memorize.
But it was fun to do plays in school, right? It was fun to memorize monologues and
And I love the stage the most. And I did this play, what's the name of that play? Conversations in Faith, where I brought the characters to life. Moses, Noah, uh, John the Baptist's mother, Jesus' mother, different Delilah, all these people to life on stage. So if you're not a reader, anything like that, you can. It's different ways that you could bring information to people. In other words, on
yeah,
stage, if you don't want to
yeah.
read something, the theater is really, really good.
Church is a stage. Church is
Yeah. Oh,
theater.
yes. Uh-huh. Yes, it is.
Where stories will be recreated, and the preacher is usually, it's a storyteller of the highest kind,
That's true. That's true. That's true. And I
and
really
it's
love that. And people,
lessons.
oh yes,
He's teaching
it's
lessons.
lessons.
Yeah.
It's
And
it's
that's what
different ways
stage
to
is
bring
too.
it.
Yeah. Theater, you're with a group of, it's like a communal kind of gathering, and there's something really magical about that. People coming together to watch a story. I mean, that's as old as time, as old as at least human beings' time, where there was always storytelling.
Well, Kathy, it's getting around that time. I have so much fun with you. This is getting to be closing time. And I want to ask you this question. I know, no, we go on forever. Looking back, knowing your mother wanted you to study computer science, how did she first react when you chose theater? She was overjoyed,
She,
wasn't she?
oh, yeah. She goes, yeah, go ahead. Go
Uh-huh.
ahead. Don't make any money. Go ahead. It was tantamount to me saying I wanted to be a prostitute.
Okay.
It was like the worst
Okay.
thing I could have said. So, because I have to
Mhm.
be practical, I had to be practical. But I honestly, and it was called computer science then, right? It wasn't like IT even. It was just like,
Right.
those were really good jobs to get. But I had no aptitude for anything like that. No, I'm not mathematically or, and I just, my intelligence is not within the sciences, it's with the arts. I got full financial aid. I got a full ride. So she really couldn't complain. So I just did it anyway.
And there's a lot of actors who said their parents did not approve of them going into acting, but now they're proud of them.
Yeah.
They're
Once they're
proud
like,
of
they
them.
see them on camera, they're like, oh, you're good.
So what's next for you in New York City, in Europe? And where can viewers follow you and purchase your books?
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, yes, I'm heading to Europe, which is crazy. I'm going to a big film festival there. And because I cast an animated film, so I helped with the
Mm-hmm.
voices, and
Mm-hmm.
this beautiful animated film is going to be in this international film festival, and it
Oh.
could be up for an Oscar because it's Oscar
Ooh.
consideration festival. So very excited about that. And then what am I doing? I'm coaching actors. I have a program called In My Shoes Stories. It's a storytelling event that I put on like every other month. And so I continue to do that show to help actors be able to tell their own story and to move people that way and to get discovered on a stage. So that's
Oh, wow.
those are the main things I'm doing now. Plus, I'm still writing scripts and stuff and books. And I do have three books. One is my cancer story, which is super interesting. And then
Mm.
I have an acting book, and then I have a book about the history of my father. It's called Little Lucky Girl. The main book is the acting job book, which is how to book acting jobs in TV and film from the perspective of a casting director, a veteran casting director. And then the other one uh, is a book that I wrote about my father's life. My father died when I was young, and so I discovered what his life was like long after the fact, and that's quite a story. It's called Little Lucky Girl, and it should be made into a movie. I think it's really an incredible story. And then the last book is a true Hollywood cancer story because when I started, most of the years I was casting in the 90s, I didn't have health insurance. And so when I got really bad cancer, I had to go to the LA County hospital system for treatment. And that was a super interesting story. That could be a series, but they already have it. It's called The Pit. But anyway,
Thank you so very much, Kathy, for taking the time from your busy schedule to appear on the show.
thanks for asking.
Oh, I really enjoyed myself. And I hope other people enjoy it also, okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jocelyn. That has been amazing.
For our viewers at home watching, if you like what you see, subscribe to The Jocelyn Moore Show. Want to be a guest on our show? Head over to our website, www.jmentertainment.info. On the homepage, click on About and follow directions to be a guest. If you have any questions about today's show or past or future shows, just click Contact on our website and submit a message. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take care and keep watching.